Hey y'all, it's your boy Poseidon, and we're here with episode 11 of the Poseidcast. Hope everyone's having a great day today. Just want to take a few moments to thank our sponsor for today, Another Damn Sports Podcast. They put out podcasts every once in a while during the football offseason, but they're mainly a football podcast. You can see by the football on the shirt that I was given by Another Damn Sports Podcast. But they put out an episode recently, so I'll make sure to link that in the description. And for all clarity purposes, it's not actually sponsored by Another Damn Sports Podcast. I'm just making a joke. But go check them out. They're pretty dope people. Shout out to Drew Torres and Money Mike Gilchrist for the hosts of Another Damn Sports Podcast. But here, episode 11 of the Poseidcast. If you look over here, we got some topics for the day. So we're going to be talking over the latest patch. Mortal Kombat 1 came out yesterday, and it was pretty good in my opinion. A lot of people seem to be happy about it. I haven't really seen any complaints about it, other than unless you're a Peacemaker main or maybe a Johnny main. But other than that, I think people are enjoying that. We'll talk a little bit about CEL that's going to be going on today, Friday the 28th, and it'll be going till Saturday the 29th. Top 8 is going to be tomorrow the 29th. And then we're going to talk about solo maining versus dual maining. I'm kind of just going to go into why I personally solo main most of the time in most of the games I play, but kind of go over the pros and cons of both. We're going to be talking about the worst matchup in NRS history. I actually made a tweet about just asking the general public, what do we think is the worst matchup in NRS history? And I got some responses to that, so we're going to go dive into that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about a little bit about the responsibility, as I personally grow in the scene. Because I was commentating last week, and I was kind of just joking around, and the Shirario TV, we're not huge, but we do garner some decent audience. Sometimes we'll get 100 plus people in the chat, and if you're making a joke or saying something, people might not always know you're joking, and they may take it serious. And I kind of made a joke that seemed like I was clowning on another event, and I wasn't being that serious about it, but looking back on it, it really just looked like I was dunking out. So I'll talk about that. But that'll be the last topic. So we're going to go off the balance patch, the latest patch for Mortal Kombat 1. I think it was a good one. We received 8 different characters received buffs. So Garrus, Havoc, Katana, Li Mei, Natara, Reptile, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion all received buffs, which is great. Some minor, I heard Havoc buffs aren't really anything. Garrus, his snap is quicker. He received some other adjustments on his Sandstorm, so he can get combos. So now he can combo 1-2 off the Sandstorm. Katana, her that move where she leaps at you like that, and then the damage scaling is reduced, so now she does more damage. So it's interesting. Of all the characters, I feel like Katana is probably the one who needed a buff the least, but they probably are going off win rates online, I'm assuming, and Katana may just not be getting a lot of wins online. She's not a very popular character. She's a very strong character, but I think she kind of suffers what I said, kind of the Jigglypuff syndrome, where it's a very good character, but she may not just be a lot of fun for a lot of people to play, so she isn't as popular as some other characters. Or maybe she isn't that great. I don't know. I haven't tried her out. So, I labbed her and stuff, but that's about it. Li Mei, she now has a fully gapless string lantern now. If you shoot the lantern with a projectile, it becomes a mid, which is really good. And there's the move called the Lion's Pounce. I'm actually not sure what the move is. Has 3 more active frames and recovers 7 frames faster. So that's pretty good. She has a fully gapless string, and less recovery and a mid projectile of sorts. So pretty cool, because she kind of you can kind of just run away from her. That's one of the reasons I feel like that was one of the really good matchups for Reptile, was because you could just run from from Li Mei, and there's nothing. You can't run from Natara. Run from Li Mei, and there's nothing she could really do about it. She really had to chase you down. Natara now has another cancel, which is really good. Reptile, oh boy, man, let's go to these Reptile buffs, because your boy is happy about that. So his back 2 is now -4 on block. His mid-charge back 2 is now -2, and his fully charged back 2 is now +2. I think those are really good buffs. I think having a safe overhead is a complete game changer. Now the move where he kind of does the mid into the low or the high into the low, his tail turnaround thing, that's now -5. It used to be -10, used to be punishable. Now it is safe, and that allows for some mix-ups of characters like Melina with Chameleon. Now you kind of have that mix up, and you have a save option when it was really unsafe both ways for any reptiles in Melina's mix ups. Now we have even Sonya. Sonya gives you an overhead launcher. So just with both those cameos now, Reptile has basically, with Sonya, safe both ways 50-50s, and you have to armor. You can't armor the tail move. So we're probably going to see that, but there's going to be more mind games around, and you're not just going to have to stagger -7 or commit to an unsafe option. And then Acid Spit. So the Acid Spit ball is now safe on block, is even plus at further ranges, and the Acid Spit in general has less cooldown, has less recovery. So it's better on block. It's still punishable, but it'll help with like jailing. So if you want to jail like Kano Knives or Cyrex Helicopter, you have more leniency with that. Sub-Zero and Scorpion both receive some minor buffs. So Scorpion, his mid move, his knee into the mid, that move that they gave last time now has no gap. So that is really cool. And the Fire Pillar thrust has now comes out 1 frame quicker. So a little something. Sub-Zero, now that move where he kind of goes to the Torch Punch and ends with the low is now -7. So now when he does that mix, if he does that mix with Chameleon, where he goes either overhead or low after the mid string, the low is now safe. So he kind of has a safe option. He kind of did have some safety with like the back 3-4 thing. So, you know, I mean, I don't play Sub-Zero a lot, but I do play him with him a little bit. I think he's a good character. I think this just makes him a little bit better. And there's a Blistering Blizzard. I'm actually not even sure, but recovers 2 frames faster and has consistent damage scaling when airborne and grounded. So now when he's on the ground, it does more, and when the airborne, it does less. I think the grounded damage is better, so I think that is a buff. So now, talk about Johnny and Peacemaker. So Johnny received a decent nerf. His Shadow Parry, or Show Off Parry, now has 8 frames to start up, and when we used to have 6, the enhanced one now comes out on frame 4 instead of frame 1. So you can't. So now the Reptile back 3-1 gap that you used to be able to parry through, can't parry through that anymore. Tanya's forward 2-1-1, can't parry through that anymore. There's just some moves. I don't know with the Baraka spin. You know, he used to be able to parry through that. He might not be able to do that anymore. I'm not 100% sure, but they got rid of that. So, so Show Off and Hand Show Off can no longer be delayed. I think those are his taunts. I'm not exactly sure what that did. I'm going to be honest with you. And Shadow Kick used to be 8 frames, is now 10 frames, and has 2 more frames of recovery. So if it whiffs, you know, you have 2 more frames of essentially whiff recovery or block recovery, and then you have a 10 frame startup from an 8 frame startup. So decent Johnny nerfs. I'm not a big fan of nerfing characters, but if there are characters that didn't nerf, Johnny was one and Peacemaker was the other. So those 2 characters did receive nerfs. Now, let's see, Peacemaker. Oh boy. Not only, so they made Human Torpedo a high, but now it's 16 frame startup instead of 12 frame, and has 13 more frames of end lag. So if you whiff it, or if it gets blocked, you are a dead man. Can stumble animation when blocked, and has 10 frames of block stun. So yeah, they increased the block stun. So now the Eagly move, where he kind of like, you know how he threw out that mid Eagly and it was just safe. Now it's punishable. So some characters like Reptile can just Nomad dash it or just do the run. I've seen where like Garrus can like even 4-2 it. So that is gone. The ground air offense has 5 more frames of block stun. 5 less frames of block stun, with less pushback on blocks. That's the that's the mid Eagly. The Beautiful Bird is the low Eagly. So, or no, Beautiful Bird and ground air. I think that's ground air offense. Not really sure. They're both punishable. Just know that they're punishable. Force Field has 30 more frames of recovery. That's a half a second. That's so long. They 30 more frames of recovery, and then Anti-Gravity now does 35 damage on block instead of 50. 50 was a lot. 35 is way more reasonable. And we got Pepper back again. Pepper, you always like to show up on the Poseidcast. So we also got some Sonya. We got some cameo buffs as well. So Sonya's leg grab, now 25 frames startup. So now 4 frames faster. Is an overhead instead of a mid, and is +1 on block. So a 1 move from a cameo got 3 separate buffs. And there was people like Foxy who was already saying Sonya is the best cameo in the game, and now like he's probably gonna be playing her all the time. Like I mean, she might actually be the best cameo in the game now. Like legitimately, like almost uncontested. No, I don't know that, but very good. I think she might be Reptile's best cameo or one of. I want to be using her a lot. Striker. They fix some problems with his grenades. I'm actually not where like weirdly affected. It gave him additional combo gravity. I'm not exactly sure how that worked, but we'll see. We'll see with some stuff. And then the cuffs move is now has 9 less whiff frames of recovery on whiff. Is +1 on block and reaches further. So that move also receives 3 separate buffs. Never really see someone use that move, but now it's good because now it's plus on block. Kind of like how Movado has that move where you kind of just throw it out to be plus. You can do that with Striker now, which is really cool because it's kind of like useless to use. You were saving, especially with all the cooldown that he has now. You're using your bar, cameo bar for grenades pretty much exclusively, or maybe a baton here and there. Okay, so and then Mataro, they adjusted his teleport, so sometimes he would like get weirdly teleported and like it just wouldn't work great. But now it works better, so that's good stuff. And Movado, instead of taking away 100 health, now only takes away 50 health, so you're gonna be base 950 depending on the character that you play. Pretty cool. I think those are good overall buffs. And the nerfs to Johnny Peacemaker. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of nerfs, but if there were characters that needed to be nerfed, it was Peacemaker and Johnny. So here we go. All right, so this weekend we're going to be watching CEO. I'm actually going to be streaming it today. It looks like it starts at 6, so I'll be streaming it for a little bit. I thought it was going to start earlier. I thought Top 32 started at 4, so they're not streaming the first wave of pools, but there's some really, really good matchups that are projected to happen. But we're not going to be able to see those online matches. We're going to be off-stream matches, and those are only Top 32 is going to be streamed. I'm assuming they're probably going to do like winner's side, maybe a few winner's side, and then all like the top 8 qualifiers, and then probably the top 8 losers qualifiers. So there probably won't be a ton of top 8, a ton of matches that are going to be streamed from like the loser side until like top 8. So but it should be a really cool tournament. I'm excited to see how the pools shake out. They start at 2, so I'll probably be keeping my eye on those and seeing what happens. But it should be a really cool tournament. I'm excited to watch Top 32 and then Top 8 tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, that's like some of the favorites. I mean, I made a couple videos already kind of going over CEO, but we got players like Beyond Toxin, who I personally think is the favorite to win CEO. We have Rewind, who NRS legend, probably a lot of people's favorite. Like I put out a poll earlier today on Twitter, and the majority of people are voting think Rewind's going to take it, and I completely understand that. NRS legend has won multiple big major tournaments. Just you can never sleep on Rewind, even with him, full-time job, getting a house, not really liking the game. You still can't count Rewind out in the slightest. Like the dude's absolutely insane at Mortal Kombat. You got Dialogue, best general shout in the world. Super good, just momentum, can beat anyone on any given day. Won Game 5 with Sonic and Game 5 with Scorpion Prox on Combo Breaker. Won Texas Showdown. Top 8 Frosty Frostings. Top 8 DreamHack Atlanta. Like I said, can beat anyone on any given day. It's just that he seems, but like Beyond Toxin seems to have a little bit of an edge on him right now. But, if there's one tournament that, to beat, the person that's been knocking you out, this one, so Dialogue definitely that's someone you need to be looking out for. Then we got Big Daddy G, another just absolutely insane player, probably the best smoke player in the world right now. You could say Just Nasty. Just Nasty's kind of taking a step back. He's kind of getting more into it, so you can debate Big Daddy G or Just Nasty, whoever you think's the best smoke. But I think for right now, we can say Big Daddy G missed a couple, ninth place at DreamHack Atlanta, 9th place at ECT, and then won first attack. Just a very, very solid player. Wins basically all of his locals in North Carolina. Very, very good player. We got some other, killers. Sparks, someone who could absolutely make a run this weekend with that Tanya. Just a lab and tech monster. Just if he can keep it together, some composure problems, but if he can just keep it together and just realize, okay, take it one game at a time. Because I feel like he hates losing so much. It seems that even when he just drops a game, he's like very angry. Like he needs to win a tournament in straight sets. But he's such a good player, and I think he can make a really good run this weekend. You got players like Full Auto and Too Easy who have seen their fair share of top eights. Full Auto even having a CEO victory in 2022 with the Sindel in Mortal Kombat 11. Too Easy top 8'd that same tournament. Constantly in top 8s all over the place. Recently second at DreamHack Dallas. Definitely want to be looking out for Too Easy. Who else do we got? We got Samij. Never sleep on it. Samij is like the similar story to Rewind, where Samij definitely has been focusing more on Street Fighter 6, entering tournaments all over the place and getting some really, really quality placements in Street Fighter 6, but the guy is so good. He cracked top 8 at DreamHack Dallas, and we'll just see what happens this weekend. But Samij can definitely make a run. I think he was top 8 last year for MK11 for CEO, and he definitely wasn't really focused on MK11 towards the end of it. But such a good player, so fundamental. NRS legend, just cannot sleep on that. Man, you got some hidden bosses. Some players have been really grinding. You got like Hercules with the Kenshi, Tri-State. So very, very good player. The Kenshi, if they get Sento out, anyone can lose. You got people like Alex is nasty. Peacemaker just received a nerf, so that stinks. He might be, I don't know what he's going to do, if he's going back to the smoke or if he's just going to try Peacemaker. But we'll see. But Alex can definitely make a run. Zanzun was literally one hit away from beating Gur and putting Gur to lose. You're so early at LCQ, but Gur clutched it out. I definitely think, also a Peacemaker player, just got nerfed, so I'm not 100% sure what Zanzun's going to be doing. It stinks just the day before. You kind of have to figure out, am I going to go with my character that just received a really heavy nerf, or am I going to switch it up and go with someone else? We shall see. Plus, we got players like Wits playing Raiden, home field advantage from Florida. Good player, could definitely make a run this weekend. We shall see. I did, in my prediction, predicting him to get top 8 based off his path, but we shall see. And then you got people who are just really good at fighting games. They got Zentai, who is just good at multiple fighting games, and he said he wasn't really focusing on one for Combo Breaker. He didn't have the best run on Combo Breaker, but said he's been focusing more on that. So I know Zentai is one of those players that he puts a couple weeks into a game and he can get back in shape. Just a ton of offline tournament experience. This dude's at basically everything, kind of like how Too Easy is. So Zentai could definitely make a big run. That'll be cool to see. What else we got? Now there's a bunch of killers that are going to be there. But yeah, I think that's it for CEO. Definitely look forward to watching. Like I said, top 32 is going to start at 6 p.m. today, and then top 8 will be tomorrow on Saturday, I think at noon. But yeah, that'll be it for CEO. So we're going to go for the third topic, and that is going to be solo maining versus dual maining in fighting games. So there's a reason that I solo main, and I think it's just easier to get good at a game. I compete in multiple fighting games, so I compete in Super Smash Bros. Melee and Mortal Kombat 1. And just with my schedule and everything that I have going on between, the YouTube content, making podcasts, running Shiba TV, working full time, having a girlfriend who I like to spend time with and try to spend as much time with as I can. Just with my overall schedule, it's just hard to be good at a game in general. So to try to juggle multiple characters within a game, try to be good at multiple games, and do everything else I do, it's just difficult. I tried picking up another character. I've been playing Tanya a little bit. I'll probably bust her out here and there, but with the recent reptile buffs, I don't know. I'm believing the character again, and that part of the reason that I usually am really so into the solo main thing. So the fact that I even started picking up a character to try to play them, I did that a little bit in 11, but never really was I have to play a second character. Usually when it came down to it and I wanted to win, I'd play Joker every time. And so to even do that, I really was just I felt like I just didn't have a ton of faith in Reptile. I was going to these tournaments, if I liked the matchup, I would feel confident, like against Reiko. I played really, really good against Rewind. He was able to clutch it out. But it's just because I really believe in Reptile and the Reiko matchup. But there's a lot of matchups and stuff where I just didn't really believe in Reptile. And it made it kind of hard to win. And it was I would go into these matches almost afraid that my gaps are going to get blown up. Or I'm going to get blown up for throwing up Forest Ball. It made it hard to establish an actual game plan. That's why I was kind of thinking of picking up another character. Usually, when I'm so into the idea of solo maining, because it's just like when you're splitting your time between characters. Let's say you have 4 hours a day to play. That's generally generous. Some people may have more, some people may have less. But if you have 4 hours a day to play the game, and you're splitting that time between two characters, you're really only improving your characters at 2 hours a day. You know what I mean? So you're splitting your time, and probably one of, if not the best Super Smash Bros. Melee player of all time, Armada. Talk about a lot of the time when you switch mains, unless you're at like the top level, unless you're in like the top 50, or maybe even top 20, probably top 50 players in the world, your character isn't the reason that you're losing. It's you. And when you pick another character, when you pick multiple characters, you're kind of trying to like cheese wins. And you may be able to get a win here and there, like you counterpick this person in like a 7-3 matchup or a 6-4 matchup, and you're able to kind of sneak away the win. You're not like actually getting better, you're just kind of like cheesing wins. And when you solo main, you actually increase your chances of actually genuinely improving at the game, and then you'll overcome some of these matchups. And just like not only like putting the time into getting good enough with two characters is difficult, but like switching between characters can be hard, especially like mid-tournament and stuff, when you're going from one moveset to the other and trying to adapt and stuff like that. Sometimes it can work in the opposite way, where you throw off your opponent, where your opponent's adapting, and then all of a sudden now they have to kind of refigure out what you're doing with a new character while you have a little bit of a download on them. But it can go either way. I personally believe that if you're trying to get better, and you know that's what your goal is, you want to win tournaments, you want to do better in tournaments, you want top 8, you should be solo maining. You shouldn't be spending your time between multiple characters. And when you get really good, because you look at people, you look at someone like Sonic or Ninja or Just, or even Ninja really like will have like one or like two characters that he's playing like at a time. Sonic, you know, he or they will go between 2, 3, 4 characters in a tournament, no problem. Same thing with like Unjust. And you see these players, but those players, these are like top 10 players. You even see someone like Mari these days with the Shang, the Quad, the Tanya, the Kenji. And like Mari's probably a top 50 player at this point. He just top 8 at LCQ. Like, he is insane at the game. So he kind of reached the level where he's like, all right, like my Kenshi is probably like a top 50, top 100 to top 50, you know, in the world. Let me try some other characters and see if I can make better runs. And he has been. So but usually you see with a lot of people, and usually when they make the rise, like, you know, Mari went with Kenshi. Like, I'm actually not even sure what Unjust. I think it was like New. People were saying like, well, with New he made it to like the top 50 to 100 level, and then he started playing all these other characters. So with Ninja and MKX, just that Liu Kang, and then he you know, started playing other characters. You know, Sonic with MK9. You know, he did it with the Melina, and then he, or they switch to other characters and stuff. So if your objective really is to improve and get better, I think you should be solo maining. That's just my 2 cents about it. That's something that's helped me get good at multiple games. But if you're looking to have fun, and maybe you enter tournaments for the fun of it, or maybe you just play Combat League, then just do what's best for you. Do what you have most fun with. Play the whole roster of characters. Do what you think is best. Because that's what you're gonna have most fun with. You know what I mean? And like when it comes to like even like picking a main, I see this happen a lot where someone will go into a chat like Tweeties, and they'll ask, "Hey Tweety, who's a good beginner character? I'm trying to get better at the game. Who's a good beginner character?" And Tweety is always like, "Pick who you have the most fun with. Because if you pick who you have the most fun with, you're gonna play more, and if you play more, you're gonna get better." I agree with that. So if playing multiple characters is what gets you on the game all the time, then maybe that's what's best for you. But if you truly are trying to get better and become the best player that you can be, I think at least to start, until you start seeing some tournament places, start seeing some top 8s and stuff, solo main. Because, you know, you may lose, you may take some L's that maybe you wouldn't have if you switch characters, but you're going to be better in the long run. And there's this saying, I'm not sure if IBDW came up with it, but I saw it, and I think it speaks true, is that getting good results doesn't mean you're a good player. But being a good player means that you will eventually start getting good results. So there's people who, like, he personally views as not that great of players that have good results. But if you are a good player, so if you're really putting the time in solo maining and improving, then you will start getting results. That's my 2 cents. That's my take on it. I hope you guys Ignore that. But moving on, next topic. So we're going to be going over and talking about the worst matchup in NRS history. I'm going to go over and I'm going to turn off these topics real quick and take away the cam. And we're just going to go and we're going to scroll through the tweet that I made. Turn on the webcam. Turn on the internet. Patch notes. And then we're going to go over here. And all right, so I really kind of reached out. And let me see. Let me increase the size of this. Perfect. It says, what is the worst MU and NRS history? I was trying to speak about 2D era games because I'm sure there's some really egregious matchup in 3D era. And the first answer I got basically immediately was Lex vs. Zod and Injustice 1. And we're going to take a look at this match right here because this was just a bit absurd. This is essentially what this matchup looks like. I'll turn the game volume on too.
Well, oh man,
and basically there's just like nothing Lex Luthor can do about this.
Please. Oh god. Oh my. Look how instant it's over.
Someone call freaking those guys at NRS right now and tell them to watch this shit. This is unbelievable.
What is
how
he?
bad this matchup is.
How does he do?
Look at this oddball on the street. It's over. This isn't injustice. This is oddball.
It is an injustice.
They're just absurd, right? Even when he has this like shield thing on, which I think is straight.
In the history of fighting
well,
look at it.
We have no idea how to commentate this except
oh
it's
my
so
god.
Instant. If we're
Yeah,
just absolute craziness.
Come back in my
I got that.
I would suggest you here's what you do. You put your speakers
Maybe
in the
that's just
highest. If you stop hearing sod balls and you start hearing screaming, run back downstairs. But I would suggest you get food, get a drink. This isn't going to be good.
That was playing the win. Yeah, everyone's just like, go get a snack, or take a break. We're watching the worst matchup in the game.
This is horrible. What does he do? What does he do?
This is the worst matchup in the game.
How do we commentate this? Look how instant they are.
Did MK9 even have any matchups like this?
Does Kenshi Jade count?
Can she at least win?
A2, that's what I mean. It's A2 Kenshi.
This is worse.
Alright. Look how instant they are!
Oh my.
Oh my god!
He's actually able to get some little
combo.
stuff going here. Like, you gotta walk him down to the corner. Only took about the entire game to do so. Let's look at the time too. He finally got him in the corner and able to get something started.
More revolver needed.
God.
The dream. You gave him his power.
Really funny stuff.
Oh no!
Oh no! 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 Oh my god!
We're still alive. We're still alive. Oh my god! Oh, it's over.
Relax tastes like no. No. You gotta play this 50 seconds. That's so not good. Scream.
It's over. No. Oh wait, he messed up. No. He got a flash. No.
Man. Just crazy stuff right there. So we got some other matchups that people are talking about. Collector and Shiva before pre-patch, when Shiva still had the incredibly broken stomp. The Collector basically couldn't get out of it, so Shiva could just spam the stomp, and Collector couldn't really do anything about it because it was unblockable, and his dash was too small that he couldn't actually even get out of it. Crazy stuff. So I heard, Kenshi Jade from MK9 supposedly was an incredibly egregious matchup. I wonder if this is where they had the conversation about it. Where's the boy Soup? He brought that up. Where is it? There was a big conversation that was happening. History. Where is it? Where'd it go? Someone commented. Or was it off this? Yeah, it's like I ran a Kenshi versus this is Pick of the Hut. It's like I did a Kenshi versus Jade gauntlet. I invited every Jade in the woodwork to come on a stream and play me in a first to 5, pros first to 10. I played over 100 games, lost 0. Just think about that, 100 games, and I don't think that was even his main. and he didn't lose a single one. He said he was literally to the point where he was bored chatting on stream the entire time, and the MU is just basically unwinnable. That's actually crazy. So it'll be here, MKX Flame Fist Liu Kang versus any Predator variation besides Warriors 7-3 in the final patch. Okay. Might be worse I'm using the game, but I only know my own character. Word. The Shiva post-patch was unplayable. This is about Ava, who was one of the best Shiva players in the world towards the end of 11. So Captain Cold versus Catwoman. Flash versus Deadshot supposedly were really bad. Wonder Woman versus Cheetah, and Ivy versus Aquaman were some supposedly bad matchups in their own right. It was just cool to see, what people talk about. Mike Metroid, NRS player for a very long time. I think even maybe started in the 3D era games. But Kenshi versus Jade, yeah. Zod versus Lex, we watched. Hawkeye versus Grundy supposedly was also because Hawkgirl could actually just kind of go in the air like really high and just kind of throw a projectile, and Grundy couldn't actually do anything with his movement and his moveset. Couldn't do anything about it at all. We looked at some MKX and Injustice 2 ones, and then MK11. Citron versus Baraka was really bad because Baraka movement was so slow, and Citron couldn't just kind of run away, and her buttons were so good. There's nothing that Baraka could really even do, even when up close, and then she could just run away, and his movement was so slow that it was just hard for him to do anything, like the tracking ground pound and the tornado. It was just a ton. It was just a lot for Baraka to try to deal with. It was difficult. We had someone, Wu, who was one of, if not the best Baraka player in the world for MK11, at least towards the end of it, would enter our tournaments, and he got like 3 or 4 second places. And 3 of the times, it was like he ran into a Centurion in Grands where he was playing so hot and just barely lost. And then, like, there was the point where he would go like Scorpion. And then there was another time where he ran into Sunia. So if Cetrion Baraka wasn't the worst matchup in the game, Robocop Baraka might have been. Like, it was a very similar thing with just that mid projectile. Who was like, I would rather eat glass than play this matchup. And it's so cool. It's cool to see. And supposedly Pig said that he may have had film on the 100-0. He put up on the Jade players with his Kenshi and MK9. Maybe I'll, at a later date, I can find some footage and make a video on that. But yeah, those are some just absolutely atrocious matchups in NRS history. And it's funny to look back in hindsight because there's so many people that talk about how matchups are just bad in MK1 when they're really not as bad as people make them out to be. They're not like a 9-1. Like, they're not a Lex Zod, or it's not a Kenshi Jade, So, yeah, it's just cool to see. Supposedly, Kenshi's projectile, like Jade's glow, Kenshi's projectiles weren't physical hitboxes, or they weren't projectiles, they were physical hitboxes, so her glow just didn't work, and that was, like, the best part about her in MK9 was her glow, and if it just didn't work, then the matchup just was not doable. But yeah, that's going to be it for that. Let me go back, bring up the webcam again. Here, internet, bring up the topics again. But that was just cool to look into, think about, and watch that Lexod video. Very, very interesting. But, okay, the last topic I'm going to get into before we end the podcast here is the responsibility that I have as I grow in the community. And I try to be, positive, because that's just generally who I am. I remember K7 put out this tweet and was like, we need more trash talk in the community. And I was basically made a quote tweet and was like, I feel like I have garnered a lot from the community and have grew a lot and have gained a lot from the community by just being myself, and that's just being nice to people. And that's just, GG's after every after every set, just, oh man, good stuff. This is, what you could do better, or this is what you, if you're looking for advice, I got you. If you don't want to eat, well, GG's, man. Your character's sick. Keep at it. I hope to see you in more events. And just trying to be genuinely nice. And I think the community needs both. I think there is an entertainment factor of kind of being I don't want to say like a dick, but kind of being like, you have the trash talkers, you have like the Leandas and the Churnies and the Can't Stop the Trains. and the Diddles, who they kind of talk a lot. They talk a lot of junk, and it makes it entertaining, and that kind of like keeps people like attention on things. But then you also need the people who are nice and make it a welcoming experience to be in the community and offer advice and can be a helping hand and make a positive experience. So when they play and they lose, they're like, that guy was really nice, or he offered me advice. I'm really trying to get better, and this was a positive experience. And I think we really need both. And I've always tried to do that. But sometimes I like to joke around too. Like I'll joke and be like, "Oh, well, you suck." But like my trash talk, when it's usually just very lighthearted and joking, and I'll basically go into the story of not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, when I was commentating. I commentate sometimes for Sure TV. Sometimes when we can't find anyone. I've also I wanted to get into commentary more, especially for the tournaments that I play in. Or playing for the tournaments that I run, so I can kind of be like, hey, I want to commentate, and I'm co-owner of Sure TV, so what are they gonna tell me no? And I was commentating, and we were waiting on a player who goes by the tag of Online Kale. Online Kale is a very good player, so if he's playing in multiple events, you're probably going to be waiting on him. So he's playing in an event, and I won't mention the person's name for just privacy reasons. He's playing the event, and we don't have any matches to run because we are waiting on Kale. And we were kind of just ranting, and we're making jokes like, like I wumbo, he wumbo, he, she, they wumbo, wumbology, the study of wumbo. We're like, I wait on Kale, you wait on Kale, he, she, they waits on Kale. Kaleology, the study of waiting on Kale. And we're just like kind of joking about stuff like that for like a couple of minutes. And we realized that in the match, he's playing a first to 5, and like the title is like 7v7. And we're like, they're running a 7v7 with first to 5s, and the prize pool was $0. And I was like, man, who's playing in these? And when I kind of went back and watched like just that segment of talking about the event, stuff like that, it really sounds like I'm genuinely being like, who would play in this event? Like who would want to do that? Like, why are good players playing in this? And I knew that I was joking around, but it's kind of like, as you get better, not everyone's going to know, because when you have, 100 plus people watching, there's some people who might be like, yeah, like, it actually may actually think that I'm clowning on the event and may take it that way. And that's not the perception that I want to put out there at all. And if I don't want to put out that perception of me, then I should be more responsible with what I say and the jokes I make and stuff like that. So it's either obvious that I don't mean it like that, or just don't say it at all and don't joke around, because you could end up, potentially, hurting someone's feelings, or you could end up just putting out a perception of you that isn't real, but other people are going to start believing because of how you talk and what you said. This was you recording, this was you said this, and now, you can't take it back. So I need to be more responsible, like I said, with what I say, but I don't want to be. I respect all TOs and all events, regardless if it's $1,000 prize pool for a one-day tournament online, or if it's a $10,000 pop bonus offline major, or if it's just someone running a for free 8-man bracket for fun. I think it's all necessary for the community to grow, and I respect all events. I know how hard it can be to be a TO. I said, whether you're running an 8-man bracket or a 100-man bracket, it's difficult. You have to put on the production, you have to run the tournament, you have to organize it, you have to get signups, you have to coordinate with the players, you have to message them, make sure they're there for the stream matches. There's a lot that goes into it, and any type of event that you run is going to be difficult. I would never purposely clown on an event, so I do apologize about that. And yeah, as I grow in the community and stuff, and as the YouTube and stuff, and the Poseidcast and stuff, I got to be making sure that I'm paying more attention to what I say, so I'm not putting anything out there that seems to be against what I truly believe. So that's going to be it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's this was a fun podcast. What I plan to do is Fridays are going to be when it's launched, so I'm probably going to record, or maybe I'll record before, but Fridays expect a new Poseidcast episode, unless something changes, to be dropping around midday on Fridays. So, yep, that's going to be the new schedule. I hope you guys enjoyed. Shout out to another damn sports podcast. Shout out to Shirai Ryu TV. We'll be live again this Sunday with Shirai Ryu Sunday Season 4, Week 4. We got 3 qualifiers already, and Mari, Bandinos, and Illuminati. So we're waiting on 5 more qualifiers. That's going to be this Sunday. Definitely be there, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Make sure to sub to the channel if you haven't.